In today's episode of Battle Through the Heavens, tensions ignite as Xiao Yan steps into the wilderness ancient territory, seeking the legendary Ancient Bodhi Tree. But before the trials even begin, he crosses paths with his old rival Feng Qing'er, a woman whose strength has skyrocketed to terrifying new heights after inheriting the power of the ancient Sky Phoenix. What begins as a clash of pride quickly turns into a battle of life and death, where Xiao Yan must prove not only his strength but also his resolve in front of countless powerful factions. Get ready, because this is one of the most intense confrontations yet. Xiao Yan's journey into the wilderness ancient territory was supposed to be about finding the legendary Ancient Bodhi Tree, but fate had other plans. The moment he arrived, he once again crossed paths with his old rival, Feng Qing'er. He still remembered their very first encounter back in the ruins of the Dousheng, when she had only been at the level of a Dou Zong. But now, her aura was entirely different. Feng Qing'er's cultivation had skyrocketed all the way to the realm of a third-rank Dou Zun, radiating a terrifying pressure that seemed to belong to something far more ancient. Xiao Yan's expression tightened. This wasn't just her strength, it carried the long-lost might of the ancient Sky Phoenix. That clan had supposedly disappeared from the world long ago, so how could that pressure still exist within her? The only explanation was clear: Feng Qing'er must have encountered an incredible opportunity, one powerful enough to explain her shocking leap in strength. For Xiao Yan, that realization sparked a deep sense of urgency. If he wanted to stand tall in the coming battle for the Bodhi Ancient Tree, he couldn't afford to fall behind. With that thought, he steeled his resolve to push forward, to break through to the Nine-Star Dou Zun as soon as possible. And indeed, after refining the blood pool of the ancient Sky Demon Python, Xiao Yan's strength surged, and he finally reached that level. With this new power, his chances of surviving the chaos to come grew much stronger. Together with Cai Lin and his companions, Xiao Yan advanced deeper into the wilderness ancient territory until they finally arrived at the ancient domain platform. Situated at the boundary between the middle and deepest parts of the territory, this place had once been an ancient battlefield where countless experts had fallen. Even now, the land was heavy with strange pressure, a force so suffocating that even the savage beasts roaming the wilderness dared not step foot here. It was, ironically, the only safe zone in this perilous region. As they drew within 10 miles, a massive square revealed itself, shocking everyone with its sheer scale. In this barren land, the sight of such a man-made structure was jarring. And it wasn't empty, crowds of people filled the square, their bodies reeking of fresh beast blood. Clearly, many of them had been hunting ferocious beasts together before gathering here. Xiao Yan led Cai Lin and the others inward, quickly noticing the pattern. The weaker cultivators occupied the edges of the square, while those in the very center were all extraordinary, radiating immense strength. There, atop a stone platform hundreds of feet wide and 2 meters tall, sat the true elites. Xiao Yan's eyes swept across them, and at once he spotted a familiar silhouette. Among those gathered sat a breathtaking woman in green, cross-legged, her presence serene and dignified. Tenderness flickered in Xiao Yan's gaze as he recognized her. It was Xun'er. But before he could take another step, a cold, cutting voice stopped him in his tracks. "This is not a place for you to come up. Get out!" The words dripped with hostility. Xiao Yan turned his head slightly, lips curling into a faint smile. Of course. The voice belonged to none other than Feng Qing'er of the Sky Demon Phoenix clan, the same woman whose clan he had once crossed at the ruins of the Dousheng, where he ruined their plans to seize the Dragon Phoenix origin fruit. Her eyes burned with resentment, and it was no wonder she hated him so deeply. Yet Xiao Yan wasn't bothered. Without anger or even acknowledgement, he simply glanced her way, then kept walking toward the ancient clan circle. That calm, dismissive attitude made Feng Qing'er's expression turn even darker. Her hostility exploded into the open. Loudly, she called him out, her voice sharp and full of venom, instantly drawing the attention of everyone on the square. Whispers rose among the crowd as many recognized the two of them, clearly eager to see a confrontation unfold. The ancient clan's group also noticed. Xun'er, who had been resting with her eyes closed, immediately opened them, her expression brightening the moment she saw Xiao Yan. Donghua frowned, sensing trouble brewing, while Gu Qingyang remained composed, quietly confident in Xiao Yan's ability to handle the situation. Xun'er, though a little worried, agreed to wait and see. Feng Qing'er's cold glare never wavered. Her voice, edged with hatred, cut through the air. "Xiao Yan, today I will make you pay with your life for all the pain I've suffered." And her hatred ran deep. After Xiao Yan's interference cost her clan the Dragon Phoenix origin fruit, the Sky Demon Phoenix clan had faced severe punishment. In desperation, they dug up the remains of an ancient sky phoenix, extracting the precious blood essence hidden within its bones. To harness that power, they made a brutal decision to transplant the very bones into the bodies of their young elites. The process was excruciating, tearing out their original bones and replacing them with the remains of the ancient beast. Out of 10 chosen youths, only 2 survived that cruel ritual. Feng Qing'er was one of them. The other 8 had perished in torment. And even for her, the agony never fully left. Every time she drew on her strength, she could still feel the sharp pain of the transplanted bones, a constant reminder of her suffering. To her, all of it was because of Xiao Yan. Now, with the Sky Phoenix blood boiling inside her, that ancient, terrifying aura surged outward. Those nearby gasped at the overwhelming pressure. The Sky Demon Phoenix clan stirred, ready to intervene, but a man with colorful pupils raised his voice, commanding them to stand down. He wanted Xiao Yan to face Feng Qing'er alone. On the other side, Gu Qingyang stepped forward, declaring his support for Xiao Yan, refusing to allow anyone to bully him with numbers. Xiao Yan knew well that this gesture from the ancient clan was tied to Xun'er's presence. The tension in the air was thick as Feng Qing'er openly challenged him. Xiao Yan, calm as ever, accepted. He knew this duel was about more than just their personal grudge, it was also about respect. In a place where only strength earned acknowledgement, he had to show his power before the battle for the Ancient Bodhi Tree. Slowly, he stepped out from the crowd. A faint smile still touched his lips, but deep in his eyes, a chill had already formed. He understood perfectly, even though Feng Qing'er's strength had soared to the level of a peak third-rank Dou Zun, she was still no match for him, a 9-star Dou Zun. With a cold snort, Feng Qing'er stomped her foot, sending a storm of colorful silk blades sweeping across the sky. They tore through the air like razors, aiming to slice Xiao Yan apart. But flames erupted around him, spreading out in a blazing 10-foot radius, reducing every strand of silk that entered its domain into ashes before it could even reach him. Xiao Yan shook his head lightly, almost bored. "The same old tricks," he muttered. Without breaking his stride, he kept walking straight toward her, each step radiating controlled, terrifying power. The crowd watched in awe as Feng Qing'er's attacks crumbled before him. She had thought her newfound strength would allow her to crush Xiao Yan, but seeing him stroll forward, completely unshaken, her face paled. The truth was undeniable, Xiao Yan stood far above her. For Feng Qing'er, the humiliation was unbearable. With a furious roar, the Dou Qi within her erupted like a storm. Above her, the energy condensed into a massive phantom of the Sky Phoenix, its body stretching hundreds of feet across the sky. The ancient pressure it radiated sent a ripple of shock through the crowd, and even seasoned experts turned pale at its oppressive might. The phantom let out a piercing phoenix cry that shook the heavens, and with a single sweep of its vast wings, it dove toward Xiao Yan like a meteor of destruction. The force of the strike was enough to make everyone present hold their breath. For the first time, Xiao Yan stopped moving. His dark eyes lifted calmly to the descending Sky Phoenix shadow. In that instant, he confirmed his suspicions. Feng Qing'er's newfound strength truly came from the remains of the ancient Sky Phoenix. "Xiao Yan, die!" she screamed, her face twisted in hatred as the phantom bore down on him. To her, there was no way he could escape at such close range. But Xiao Yan only smiled faintly, shaking his head. Still the same petty tricks. A golden light flickered in his eyes, and then his entire body burst into a blinding radiance. Like a golden sun, his aura exploded outward, so dazzling that many in the square had to shield their eyes. They couldn't even see the details, but the shockwaves of power crashing through the square told them everything. They were witnessing a collision of terrifying magnitude. Some thought Xiao Yan had been reckless. Others muttered that his arrogance would finally cost him dearly. Even Feng Qing'er, as the light swallowed her vision, believed her strike had landed. A sigh of relief nearly escaped her lips. But in the next instant, reality shattered her hopes. The golden blaze receded, and Xiao Yan's figure appeared, completely unharmed. In fact, he was already standing right in front of her, moving faster than her eyes could follow. Feng Qing'er's face froze in disbelief. Before she could react, Xiao Yan's palm lashed out, connecting sharply with her cheek. The sound of the slap echoed across the square. A blood-red handprint bloomed across her face, blood trickled from the corner of her mouth, and her body was sent flying through the air. By the time she hit the ground, her consciousness had faded, knocked out cold. The square fell silent. Gasps of shock spread through the crowd. No one had expected Xiao Yan to be so ruthless, to strike down the proud Phoenix girls so decisively. Some muttered that they could never bring themselves to slap such a beautiful woman. But Xiao Yan knew the truth. Just moments ago, Feng Qing'er had truly intended to kill him. Against an enemy like that, man or woman, mercy had no place. The Sky Demon Phoenix clan erupted in fury, their killing intent surging as they prepared to strike back. But once again, the man with colorful pupils stepped forward, his voice sharp as he ordered them to stand down. With a faint smile, he admitted that Feng Qing'er had simply been outmatched and instructed his people to carry her away. On the surface, he even praised Xiao Yan's strength, but the dangerous gleam in his multicolored eyes betrayed his true thoughts. Xiao Yan wasn't fooled. He spoke coldly, declaring that if anyone truly wished to test his strength, they should face him directly, instead of pushing a woman forward. His words struck like knives, challenging the man's honor. Though the colorful-eyed man kept his composure, the hidden malice in his gaze grew even sharper. Xiao Yan, however, remained unshaken, openly stating that he was ready to accept a challenge at any time. With that, Xiao Yan turned and walked toward the ancient clan's side. Donghua greeted him with a half-joking smile, teasing that this was the first time he'd ever seen him slap a woman. Xiao Yan could only shake his head helplessly at the remark before turning to Gu Qingyang and the others with a polite greeting. But soon, his eyes inevitably fell upon Xun'er. The sight of her made his expression soften. Xun'er, smiling warmly, told him he was late. Then, her gaze shifted naturally to Cai Lin standing at Xiao Yan's side, and with a gentle tone, she called her sister. Cai Lin was caught off guard by the words. She had long known of Xun'er, Xiao Yan's childhood sweetheart, and had always suspected that if not for the twists of fate, Xun'er might have been the one to stand at Xiao Yan's side as his wife. That thought made a faint unease stir in her heart, as if she herself had arrived too late. Still, with dignity, she only nodded lightly in response. The atmosphere grew delicate, and the ancient clan members immediately noticed. Remembering Xun'er's words, they quickly pieced together the truth about Cai Lin's identity. Complicated expressions spread across their faces. After all, Xun'er was like a goddess in the eyes of countless people within the clan. For Xiao Yan to not only earn her affection, but also walk with another confidant by his side, it was a bold display, and one not everyone could accept easily. And yet, Xun'er herself showed no signs of jealousy. She remained calm, her composure unshaken. Her gaze briefly met with another familiar figure in the crowd, Nalan Yanran. The last time they had faced each other was many years ago, when Nalan Yanran came to the Xiao family to break off her engagement with Xiao Yan. Back then, she had been proud, radiant with confidence. But the woman standing here today was different. Time and trials had washed away her arrogance, leaving behind only quiet strength and unspoken regret. As their eyes locked, Nalan Yanran's heart stirred with complicated emotions. She remembered the words Xun'er had once spoken to her after the engagement was severed. "Miss of the Nalan family, I hope you will not regret this in the future." More than 10 years had passed, but those words still rang in her ears. And though she would never admit it aloud, in her heart, she had long since begun to regret. But what was done could not be undone. The path she had chosen was one she could never walk back. And that's where this chapter of the story leaves us, Xiao Yan standing tall, having crushed Feng Qing'er's newfound power and silenced her fury with a single, decisive strike. But the true challenge still lies ahead. With the ancient Bodhi Tree about to become the center of a storm that will draw in countless experts, Xiao Yan must be ready to fight stronger enemies than ever before. How will he face the schemes of the major clans, the looming threat of the Sky Demon Phoenixes, and the dangers hidden within the wilderness ancient territory itself? We'll find out in the next epic chapter of Battle Through the Heavens.